Привет, it's Joanna Swan. Today I'm with Esther, a volunteer from the 2018 Men's World Cup and the 2019 Women's World Cup. So I already done some video about the differences between the 2018 Men's World Cups and the 2019 Women's World Cup. So I'm thinking it's best if we have someone who been there as a volunteer to kind of give us a part of her experience in Russia. So, Esther, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be talking to you and to all the people who watch your videos and clarify some things. I mean, I'm not the expert, but I've been doing these volunteering jobs, and it's been a pleasure to be part of these such events, right? And as a football fan and also as a sports lover, I think it's really awesome.
Thank you for replying with a yes, because you could have said no.
No. It's a pleasure to be with you and helping you out with your videos. And I think this theme that you brought, it's really relevant, especially because of this difference, right, that you said in the last video, which, by the way, guys, check it out because it's awesome. And so it's good to be here. It's good to be talking about this.
Okay, so like the 2018 Men's World Cups and the 2019 Women's World Cup, we all know that the budget is not the same. But I just gonna have some very specific question. Like in terms of volunteering, so you didn't get paid on both ways. So this is similar. You get to pay your own flight and transportations or accommodation. So did you receive any help from FIFA to help you find a place to stay for both of the events? And if you do, if one was more helpful than the other one?
So yeah, in 2018 FIFA main World Cup, we had universities which were opening their doors for international volunteers to stay there for free for the whole competition, which was like a miracle for each one of us because it's like just a lot of money, especially if you're coming from another place. I'm coming from Brazil, so it's a lot of money to buy the flight tickets and to survive, basically, for food, for everything. If you want to do tourism too, it's gonna cost you more money. So these universities, they opened the doors for us, which was awesome. So we didn't have to pay for accommodation, but we had to pay for the flight tickets, and depending where are you flying from, can be bad, can be a lot of money. And yes, as a volunteer, you don't get paid, but last year they gave to us bus fees for free. So actually you could go around the city that you were working for free, and it doesn't matter if it's a match day or not. You're going to get your accreditation, and your accreditation was going to just like let you pass through all transportations. So if you're in a day off and you want to get to know the city and just do whatever, was fine, was free, which was really good for us. So we could get to know Russia better too, and was really nice. So we didn't have to pay for transportation, and we had food during the shifts. So that's basically everything we had. We had the uniform, but it's part of the event thing.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter if it was the 2018 Men's World Cup or the 2019 Men's World Cup. You get free food where you work. It's kind of, I think it's
a basic thing.
It's a basic thing.
But since you brought this, it's also good to mention that here in 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup, we didn't have the free transportation for the city. So we had free transportation to go to work, which is quite nice too. But we didn't have the free transportation to go around Paris, for example, or Montpellier, or in any city you were working.
So I don't understand. They know you've been there for a month. So how come they don't give you a month pass like a regular Parisian may have for Paris, because you were volunteering in Paris? But in Russia, do you volunteer in more than one city? Or
no, usually the availability is just for one host city. So it's really hard for you to get a city. So when you get a city, you settle down in one city. So that's the program. So if you are working in Moscow, you're going to work in Moscow only. If you are going to work in Lyon or in Paris, you're going to work in Lyon or in Paris only. So you cannot choose 2 places or more places to work. You just have to work in one place. But I think the benefits are very clear in the beginning. So you just choose to be a volunteer if you really want to, and if you're really up to do that, because nothing's like, everything's well said since the beginning. You know that you're going to pay for stuff, and you just go if you feel like it's going to be good for you, right?
But being a volunteer, you need to have, I don't know, any particular gift, or when do you have to apply? You cannot just say like a month before the walk-off, I want to be a volunteer. So how long did it take you to do the process, being okay with it, and send your paperwork and waiting for the answer? How long did it take?
For Russia, it took 2 years.
2 years.
For Women's World Cup in 2019, 1 year. So when I was in Russia, I applied for Women's World Cup in order to be here. And for the male one, I had to apply 2 years before. So I applied 2016. And it's not a choice. Like, you were so earlier. Like, no. This is like demanding. It's something that, like, if you want to go, you have to apply 2 years before. And so in 2016 was the last year for you to apply. The only year available to apply. And then you're trying, because a lot of people are trying. And of course, we had 19,000 places for volunteering in Russia World Cup, but they're not like, it's not easy for you to get a chance. It's not because it's 19 spots that you have a chance, because we have a lot of tests, a lot of stuff that you have to go through these 2 years, and they're not going to give all the 19,000 places for international volunteers. That's another point,
yes,
right?
Because they have maybe a quota for citizens as well, and I think they want to be part of the competition. But as a volunteer, you don't get to choose the spots you're going to be working. You don't get to choose your hours. You kind of say this. Can you say, for example, I want to be a volunteer, but I cannot be a volunteer for the entire time. So how does it work?
So you can mention that, but I think you're probably decreasing your chances to get in, right? Like, you can do it, but
I want to be a volunteer, but only for the first week.
I don't suggest you to do that. You have to show that you want, that you really want, that you're really available for it. So if you put some, rocks in the path, you can decrease your chances to get in. But you said about the availability and about choosing the spots. You can choose the place you want to work, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get the one you chose. So, for example, I'm always working with media, always choosing media, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to get media. So the first opportunity in Russia, I got media, which was really good for me. So my chances of getting media again, because of my experience, But if I never worked with media, if I was not a journalism student, and I want media just because I think it's cool, it's not like a justification. You have to have a background. So if you work with doping, maybe you're related to nursing or doctor, or you're
they try to make
studying.
some smart jobs. Like they try to put the right people on the
you like to work with people. You've been doing some events or other volunteer. Anything you do in life can be good for, like, anything in your curriculum can be good for this chance. And this volunteering opportunity can also be good for your curriculum. So it's something, vice versa. I'm good with people. I would like to work with spectator services. Great, and there are opportunities for you. I work with publicity. There are opportunities for you. I work with sustainability. There are opportunities for you. So it's not only about football. It can be any area related with football. That's really a good part about volunteering in the World Cup.
Thank you. So, if you have to grade the logistic about the Women's World Cup versus the Men World Cup, which one do you think managed better the volunteer, like if, for example, like making you work very early then late, know how to shift the schedule, like making turns and making sure like you're not only doing one thing, you kind of changing. Maybe you go today, you're going to work the media center, the next day you're going to be on the field. How do you think about the logistics was done in France versus Russia? Is it similar, or what do you think?
Good question. Well, in terms of logistics, like in numbers, in Russia we had around 19,000 volunteers, and for the World Cup last year, Male World Cup, and this year 2019 for FIFA Women's World Cup we have 2,000 volunteers. So you can see the difference. And actually, if we compare the World Cups, we are talking about the biggest football events. I would say the biggest sport event ever, like together with Olympics. So it doesn't matter if it's women's or males. We are talking about women's. We are talking about World Cup, right? So in terms of World Cup, I think it's good to have a lot of volunteers working. But in terms of, we can say like, why do we have such disparity? A lot of things comes together, right? History, investment. Yes, the investment is in. You said everything in your video. Just check it out, guys. The differences between Women's World Cup and Males World Cup. So you understand, like, because of investment, publicity. So the rolled eyes are on Male World Cup. So that's why we have more volunteers there, because it's a lot of work to do. Because the press, it's going to cover that kind of event. And the Women's World Cup, we have less volunteers, so we start with that. So basically, this is a lot of difference. We're talking about 19,000 and 2,000.
This is a big gap. Yeah. But like, you're in the media, so you know about sport cover, but can you be more specific? Because you say you like media, but what kind of media? I don't know if it's, we don't know if it's politics, or I don't know, maybe sports.
Yeah, so I've been working with sports. I'm sports commentator as a volunteer too in Brazil. I also do some recordings for radio, but it's also related with sports. So basically everything I'm doing is related with sports. I used to play football and handball, so I'm like sports lover. And so my media is related with sports journalism in general. So that's why I applied to be a volunteer last year in Russia World Cup, and this year in Women's World Cup, both places as a media assistant in sports. And also in between these two events, I was in Canada for the Winter Games. I also volunteer as a media assistant. So it's what I love to do. All volunteer spots. But talking about these differences and logistics of everything, I think in Russia was a really challenge for them to try to engage everyone, just like a lot of people, and the media group especially, were a lot of people, and they had to manage pretty well to, organize, you are going to be responsible for this, and that person is going to be responsible for that. And they were not having rotations. So that was a problem, because you have a lot of people and you cannot manage that amount of people. So basically you were working with something, you're going to be working with that until the end. Mm-hmm. And we cannot make changes in between. It's going to be a mess. So that was a thing. And a good thing about Paris and FIFA, Women's World Cup, is that because we have less volunteers, we can make more rotations. So you can get to know more of different areas of the World Cup. But it's sad too, because why can we have such rotations? Because we have less volunteers. Why do we have less volunteers? So we have to go, deeper to understand why do we have this time, do we have this availability to work in different areas and everything. I feel great because I can understand more of media tribune, of press conference, of the pitch, different areas of the stadium. But at the same time, I know that I have this chance, I have this rotation thing because we don't have many volunteers. Mm. And it's not because, volunteers don't want to volunteer, or people don't want to volunteer. No, many people applied. Many people applied. But the thing is, they are not investing the same amount of money in this World Cup as in the May World Cup. So they cannot have a lot of volunteers because they're going to have to pay for
the uniform,
food and uniform and
time management
and
transportation.
Yes, and we have to have bosses to, to organize these volunteers, and they are getting paid. So it's not only about volunteering. We also have some people who get paid for doing their jobs.
But do you think we may have a change? A gap will be not as big for the next World Cup, because if you think about when the Women's World Cup was in France, we didn't think about the output of having a French team as a host and the publicity it can have, because we had over 10 million people watching in front of their TV, and I'm not talking about the one who go to the bar, the fan zone, and be in the stadium. It was full, and I don't think they were expecting this, because when you realize we use the Parc des Princes, which is the home for the men's PSG teams, not for the men players of the French teams to play. And I was by the Stade of France not too long ago, and I see a lot of advertisement around the stadium and on the stadium about the 2019 women's football with the females player and everything. But they were not even having one game there. I mean, maybe the ceremony could have been hosted there.
Yeah.
But the final would be in Lyon, and many great cities, I realized, that could have hosted a couple games didn't, because they didn't even apply for it. We didn't. We don't want to be a candidate. We're gonna have an empty stadium, but most of the stadium are full, and which is great. So maybe the next 2023 World Cup, it will be different. Will you be a volunteer again?
Hopefully, or maybe as a journalist covering and doing differently and representing women football differently. I hope so. But this that you were talking about, like the advertisement and everything, it's a pity, especially when it comes to FIFA Fan Fest, because the organizers usually they suppose people are not going to be interested.
Mm-hmm.
But who is saying that? Maybe we, like in business, we have to try new things and see how people are going to react, and then you start to invest more, right? So that's why I think the perspective for the future is good, because they are trying a new business, they're trying a new market, and journalism are if journalism are people, they are going to be like with eyes wide open for this, because they want to see how it's going to be, how the way is going to be. And if they see that people are actually watching it, people are having fun watching women's football in the same way as they are having fun watching men's football, so they can invest more money. The organizers are going to invest more money, and the journalism, the media in general, is going to cover these games. So we will have more visibility in those games. So I think the perspective is good. I have good vision about this for the future, which is really nice since we are women. And not only because of that, maybe you're a man, you're watching this video and you like football, and that's what matters, right? We are talking about the sport. If you like football, it doesn't matter the gender, you like football, that's it. And we want to support football. And that's why,
some men are interested in men's player and not the women's player. So.
That's the thing. And it's good to know that. It's good that it's changing. And for example, in the Women's World Cup, we are not having that kind of advertisement, right? The FIFA Fan Fests are not that big compared to the FIFA, right? Russia last year World Cup. We have 1-2 screens, and they are not as big as
the screen. Because I haven't been, but you've been, so it's a good thing.
Yes.
Because I went to the FIFA Fan that's in Moscow and Saransk also. I think you went to the one in Nizhny Novgorod.
Yes, I've been in St. Petersburg, Nizhny Novgorod, and Moscow, FIFA Fan Fests.
Yeah. So it was bad. Like, you see a lot of screens.
It was crazy,
You don't have to look for a screen. The screen is right there.
Right in front of you, and it's big.
Yes. And you get to meet a lot of people. But for the French fan zone, the FIFA Fan Fest, it's different. So
even the name, they don't call FIFA Fan Fest, they call Fan Zone. And I think that's maybe a thing because it's smaller and the screens are not as big, and they didn't choose a very big place because they were not making like big advertisements about it, publicity about it. So people are not actually going. A lot of people are not going
because if the people doesn't know,
yeah, that's
there,
the thing. That's
they're not
the thing.
gonna go.
Yeah.
If you don't see a big sign, then it's there. But do you think they did the right pull, like or maybe we didn't make any pull at all because they need to ask the French citizen if they're interested or not. You know,
a research or going to the street and make a census kind of thing, just to know, like to try to know if people really want to go, and maybe they would have done something different. I'm not sure about it. If they have done, I'm not sure. But just in case, like you can tell that in terms of advertisement was not the same, because if you go to the metro station, like in the center, in the city center, or stuff like that, you cannot see signs or any sticker or anything. And in Russia was crazy.
Oh my God! Yes.
Anywhere you look, anywhere you go, you will find something related with FIFA.
You can
World
even
Cup.
watch a game when you're taking the metro on the TVs. Yeah.
So it's everyone is talking about it. Everyone knows that the city it's hosting. And here, if you go to the streets and if you ask people, some people don't even know that the Women's World Cup is happening right now, right here in France. So it's a thing.
It's kind of sad, and they were not aware of the process. And right now, people are starting to know about the Women's World Cup because as we're talking. Tomorrow we have a very big game. I mean, I have a very big game. we both will be in the stadium.
See, you can see who I'm supporting.
She will cheer for France out from the field.
Yeah, since Brazil lost for France, I'm for France.
On Sunday. And I will be there on Friday. I mean, it's tomorrow. It's actually today because it's very late as we're recording. And I will be cheering for France. So we'll be together in the stadium.
It's going to be nice. It's going to be awesome.
So we cover some different aspects of the experience that Esther have in Russia and in France for the World Cup. But I have a question because a lot of people talk about Russia, that is dangerous and everything. Do you feel safer in Russia or do you feel safer in France, or is it about the same thing?
Well, it depends a lot where you're living, right? But in general, I think stereotypes. Because Russian people are cold, Russian people are not helpful. No, they were really open. They were really open-minded. They knew that the World Cup was going to be there, and they were proud of it. They were super proud of it, and they were expecting tourists. So when I got there, we didn't have many tourists in the beginning because I got there like 2 weeks before the World Cup. Nothing was going on, and
because you were training.
Yeah, because I had training, and my flight was cheaper to go a little bit before. So I was really earlier there, and people were like super friendly, trying to help me out. I felt super safe, and it's totally the opposite, like of everything I ever heard about Russia. So maybe it's because of the World Cup they were super nice. I'm not sure. I think people are nice, and people like nice people can be anywhere. And I had a very good experience in Russia. No problem at all in terms of security, in terms of people. Everything was great. And about Paris, being a volunteer in Paris, I don't have words to describe it. Like, it's awesome to be here. Paris is an amazing, amazing city. I've been wandering around in my days off. And also, being as a volunteer, sometimes we can finish by 2 a.m., 1 a.m., and you have to get transportation. The transportation system really works. It's really safe. I don't have to worry about anything. I can work until late at night, and it's fine. The city is really amazing too. So I don't have anything to say in terms of a security system or anything like that. Just if I was going to compare the volunteer hours, stuff like that. In Russia, we had some buses from FIFA that would take us home because it was 2 a.m. or something like that. especially because the transportation system there was not working by this time, right? And here in Paris, I understand that they are not giving us buses to take us home because the transportation system really works until late at night. So makes sense. But at the same time, I think would be really nice to have the option, at least, to have buses to take you home in case you miss the last train to go to the place you're living.
But the thing is, like, depending where you live in Paris, or if you live in Paris or in the suburbs,
or in the suburbs,
it's not the same thing. If you live very far, you cannot afford to stay very late.
So this is a thing. I think like there are many things that will come through the process. So I think they're trying, as I said before, they are trying a new market. So when it comes like when trying a new business, you will invest a little, not everything, not 100% of the investment you can make, but a little bit, and see how it's going to work. And if it's good and if you see the results, you can invest more. So I have very good expectations for the next Women's World Cup. I think in terms of volunteering, organizing, the teams, the committees, the host country and the host cities. I think everything's going to be even better than already is. So good things are about to come, I hope.
Thank you, Esther. But I've been living in Paris, so I know how Paris is. Now time could not be helpful. But I've been going to Russia about every year for a couple times, so I can compare before, during, and after the World Cup, because I went back after it because they have the extension, so I use it. And they are very, very helpful. Like I have a luggage in the metro. And there's a stair. Don't worry, a guy will stop by and carry my luggage and help me taking the stairway, which is really great. But in France, I didn't really see that. So I also think Russian tried to be very, very nice too, and they're very excited, and they're asking us for pictures all the time because they are so happy to have tourists, because they don't have much tourists coming. Because they have a lot of prejudice and it's
a lot of stereotypes on them, and I felt like they were trying to show the role that, hey, we are not that you are thinking about us. We are so much more than that. I think that's one thing that they were trying to show us.
It's like French people always have a beret and walk with a baguette under their arms, so...
Oh, the bread thing is true, but
no, it's not true.
I love it.
Did you see me eating bread every day?
Well, do you want me to answer?
Yes, you can.
Well, yeah, baguette is really, really nice, croissants and everything. But you are so much more than that. And even when, you, like, maybe in Russia and in Paris, people maybe will not speak in English, doesn't mean anything. People will try to help you out. Doesn't matter what language you're speaking.
Even if we don't speak, English. But you know, I have to tell you, we met on the train, and I was running late for the train, so I just got into any places in the train. I don't know where I was. I'm like, I saw that's the train. I'm like, let me get into that cabin, and then I'll figure it out. So before you get into the train, there's a checkpoint. They check your ID, a fine ID for us, plus passport and your tickets, and they tell you where you're supposed to go. And there was a lady, she didn't speak English, and it was so cute. She helped me get to the right cabin. It was all the way, because I was in the luxury cabins, but I was not so luxury one. And by the time I get there, it's they have cabins like 4 beds, and there's a closed door, or you have cabins that don't have the doors. So when you're passing by,
you can see the
have
feet.
to look not to get any feet in your face. Like it literally is this. And it was like 17 hours train, something like that.
Yeah, like 19 hours train.
19 hours.
From Nizhny Novgorod to St. Petersburg.
Yes, true. And
by the way, in the World Cup, in the May World Cup, you already said on the video, people were having the chance to get for free
Yeah.
tickets one host city to another just to watch the games, which is really nice.
If you bought the ticket, you can do it.
I hope for the next Women's World Cup we have that too.
Yeah, because we didn't have that in Paris, and the price was so expensive.
So if you want to go to Lyon or Versailles or like what one other city, Montpellier,
Reims, Le Havre,
yeah.
Rennes.
You have to pay for yourself, like by yourself.
You have to pay by yourself, no matter if you have a ticket.
Yeah.
So yeah, and in that train, it was very, it was good because when you cannot get the FIFA trains, you have affordable trains that we can use.
Yeah.
And this is how we met on the trains. And
football madness.
The football match. And the lady that walks me to my bed from a cabin to another one, she saw that I was in the upper bed, and she was arguing with the guy and say, "Oh, you have to be a gentleman." I didn't understand everything she said because he was Russian and my Russian is not very good. But like she was trying to argue with him that he need to be a man and leave me the lower bed so I can rest peacefully. And I said, "Oh, don't worry, it's okay." It's like, "No, gentleman." It was very cute, and the fact that I was in the upper bed. And I need to have a lower bed. I end up being sitting on the bed of my neighbors because we were talking, and as he was the only one who speaking English pretty much in the train, and he was like, "Hey, you need to meet my friend. She's a volunteer too. She's from Brazil. You're gonna like her."
And then I came all the way from the another cabin, which was the cheapest one. And we were like 7 people in one cabin. It was crazy. And people were eating. And I was, 7 people and their luggages, including mine. So you can imagine how great was that and comfortable. So then I left that place and got to know you. And that was awesome. So you see, sometimes like, you're volunteering, you're working for free, you're paying all the things to go to another place that you don't know, and but you are opening an opportunity, and anything can happen.
Yeah,
anything can happen.
Friends, like
you can meet people.
I met you. I met so many friends. I met some Brazilian friends that live in Moscow, and I met a guy from Peru and Russian girls. They were both in Paris at the same time. So the three of us, like. Oh, by the way, hi Leo and hi Natalia. And Leo, we call Leonardo DiCaprio for kids. They were in Paris in the same times. So right after the World Cup, it was in August. So we keep in touch. And then, before you know, in November, I went to Russia. And the three of us were still together, having fun and going out. So you can make friends with any World Cups and they can stay in your life for good. Because we have a very strong tie. We love football.
It's football madness. Sometimes you don't have to, know everything and control everything that's going to happen. Just let it go and see what can happen. You have to have money to do these crazy things. Not really. I'm a student. I'm not coming from a rich place. But you can have awesome people on your way and they can help you out, like Joanna. And also you have to try. You have to work hard, of course, to make your money at least to go, right? To do some stuff like this. But if you work at any place, you just have to really want something. If you really want something, you can achieve it. And just try it, right? Just try it. And I think it's really fun and it's everything that I like the most, which is traveling, football, media, which is really my thing. So anyways, I don't like media. I'm pretty sure you like something. I like computers. Well, you can be the IT team. I like medicine. Be in the doping team. I like food. Be in the kitchen helper. I don't know. Just be part of that emotion of that experience about the World Cup.
Anyone can be part of the football experience, no matter where you work or what you feel like in life. So it's pretty cool that you can share multiple working experience for one special event that happens once every 4 years for men and for women too. Just like a different in times. Just one more question.
All right.
So you're here for a month, right? So what you gonna do after the World Cup?
Volunteer again. So let's go. Let's volunteer. So yeah, I'm gonna volunteer in marketing in Rome, and it's gonna be another project, not very related with sports and football, but you know, if you like volunteering, if you like to give it back and also receive it from the road and through people, volunteer, right? And so I'm going to volunteer in a hostel in Rome with the marketing team, and it's going to be awesome, I'm pretty sure. And it's a chance for me to get to know the city too, so I'm excited.
So free housing,
free food, and also experience. In marketing, and I've got a certificate and everything. So you make connections.
You make good connection. You help having a nice portfolio. You know, you never know what can happen. But thank you very much, Esther, for answering my question.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And try to volunteer, guys. I see it can be awesome. And it's going to be awesome. You can make this opportunity awesome.
So what we're going to remember that volunteer is a great experience, and you're telling people to try to volunteer, doesn't matter what age you are, because you know guys.
Yes, we have volunteers like they are in their 60s, even 70s. Like I'm serious, and they're volunteering. So there's not a matter of age, it's not a matter of money, it's not a matter of anything. If you want something, just go for it.
Thank you very much. Oh, and for France, what do you say?
France team is gonna win tomorrow. Yes, it is. So probably we have United States and France in the quarterfinals. If you're watching this video, probably already happened. So let's see. I'm for France now since Brazil is out. So, but I love Brazil. It's always on my heart. But now I'm for France.
Maybe it's because I'm from Paris and Germany, and we have many Brazilians on the team. So
yeah, probably. So yeah.
But thank you for watching, and allez les bleus.